Welcome back to Wizard Supercoach. Hope you all had a good week and found some way to navigate the carnage. As you can see, I didn't find a way. My rank went down 2,037 spots, and yeah, I'm now ranked 44,401. So my interest in this game is absolutely hanging by a thread. Just having such bad luck with injuries and other things, but might as well keep going, I guess. Have a look at the team, see where it all fell apart. I was feeling really good last week because a few of the players that had question marks over them felt like a bit of redemption for them, like Lockie Neal and that, but they weren't able to back it up this week, so that really sucks. Might do something different this week, actually. I'll get your opinion. Leave in the comments what you think I should do with the team, because I think I know what I'm going to do when teams are released tomorrow night. So I'll make another video then showing that. But I'm curious to see what other people would do with this team. There's definitely a lack of cash gen this year, and you can see it in my team. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to get a bit creative and do some things I wouldn't normally do. But yeah, if you got any ideas, tell me. Because I'll be really curious to see. I don't think it's going to sway what I would do tomorrow night, but still. I'm just really curious to see what others think. So it was horrible luck. Sard obviously got injured the week before. I hope he's back this week or I'm in even deeper shit. He's missed like 2 games or something in, 8 years? Something like that. So when I picked him as a pod, I thought at least he's durable. And then, no shit, like 2 weeks later, he goes down. So it's bad luck. Like, you can do all the research and you can have solid logic for picking a player. But at the end of the day, if luck's not on your side, there's nothing you can do about it. And it just shits me off when you get certain people that will start gloating about it. It's going to happen to everyone at some point. There's no point gloating about it because it's not like with Sard or even with the Matt Roberts one. Like, no one could have seen that coming. So yeah, as long as your logic is good, it's a bit easier to swallow. But anyway, I'll get into the team. So this is how it looked over the weekend, obviously with Sard and Green on the bench, which meant I had to rely on rookies pretty heavily. And Jesus Christ, it was the worst week to have to rely on rookies. Just absolute carnage. First of the positive is Dacos, same as every week. He's a piglet. The media saying that he's a Brownlow lock and the best player in the AFL. I think that's a bit of a stretch. He's probably the best at his position and his role. But for me, Jazza Cameron is the best player right now. I know this isn't really Supercoach related, but I'll get it off my chest anyway. So I think if your team is down and struggling, Dacos isn't the kind of guy that's going to win the ball for you and turn it around. Like, he was good on the weekend, don't get me wrong, kicked his couple of goals, and he was really good there. But compared to like a Bont or a Jazza Cameron or someone, I can't see it. And he's only a second-year player, so I'm not bagging him at all. He's absolutely unreal, but he's not the best in the comp yet. But yeah, glad he's in my team. So I bought in Jake Lloyd this week. Again, he's been going off, and I thought he was back. I still think he is. The whole Sydney team scored really low, as you'll see later in the video. I'm sure you all know by now. This is a pretty late video, actually, being a Wednesday night. But yeah, the logic behind getting Lloyd, I thought I'd get him as a value pick. Yeah, it just happened to be the week that he had his lowest score for the year, and not much you can do about it. 77, it's not the worst, I guess, for that price. I still think he'll bounce back. I think he'll still average like 100 to 105, something like that. He could even go higher. It depends what Sydney are doing. If they play like they did against Geelong again, he's not going to score too well. But as I said, they were all down, so... And I actually think he was, believe it or not, 77 was one of the highest scores, I think. For Sydney, let's see, where's that game? Yeah, so... What's he there? He's like 7th highest scorer. That's just terrible from Sydney. 1 ton. But yeah, we'll get to that later. Jack Bowes actually delivered for me, 96. Now, if you're wondering why he's in my team, I took a gamble on him when Liam Jones in round 1 had 5.5. I didn't want none of that. I got scared off, which in hindsight wasn't the best choice. But again, I thought the logic was solid, so yeah, a 96 from Bowes is good though. He looks like an absolute beast when he's around the ball. He doesn't get enough game time, although I think it's increasing, so that's a good sign. And he seems to be playing better roles now. Because when he's on, he scores quite well. He's just got to get around it, and they've got to use him a bit better. He gets burnt, but I think he's starting to settle into their system. So, and he's got a good break even, 36. So he should easily beat that again. I can hold him for another week. If he goes shit this week, I'll be chopping him. But there's bigger problems right now. McKenna 57 was terrible. I think Daniel Rich being in the team is hurting him. Same as Wilmot 39. He's got to go. Both of these will probably go this week. But knowing my luck, like I got rid of Jones and then he scored big. I got rid of Radigalia and then he started scoring big. If I get rid of them this week, both of them will probably go 100 or something. So anyway, they have to go. And Cowan, he's just shit. He shouldn't even be in the team. Not doing anything. Hopefully he gets dropped and Sincotta, however you say it. Hopefully he keeps his spot and then next week I'll be getting on him. But yeah, Cowan hasn't made enough money to go yet. I can't really do much with him. It's not worth it. So anyway, so Sard will come back in, obviously for Cowan at this stage. So the backline's not looking too bad once they get rid of once they get rid of McKenna and Wilmot. Seamus Mitchell will probably come in for Wilmot. And then Constable still pretty much dead for now. He may come into the team with Toot going down, but I think maybe not. I think that like people seem to think Fiorini is going to take Toot's CBAs. I think you'll actually see a spike in Alex Davies' CBAs. They'll see it as an opportunity to get him trained up. And probably Swallow will take the rest of the split. So I wouldn't be jumping on Fiorini like some people are. And I don't think Constable's going to get that inside mid spot. But I hope that Ben Long gets dropped because he's been terrible this year and he's keeping Constable out. So if Constable comes back, if he just cleans up his efficiency, he can score and he can make us the money required. I feel like he's going to be one of those that if you waste a trade on him now, once he does get back in the team, he's going to bite you in the arse. Bont 182, what an absolute pig. I think he's, third in the league now, so that's even better than I expected he was going to be. But yeah, he's definitely got that ceiling. So I wish I had a VC'd him, but I didn't even think to, honestly. I thought Neil, after his 176, would go huge again. Who did Brisbane? Oh, Brisbane had North. Oh, no, not North. It was... Sorry, I didn't actually see this game. It was the Giants, yeah. So yeah, that's shocking from Neil. Lucky he got the 176 last week. Kind of evens it out, but he's still averaging 111. People are saying that he's a terrible pick and a failed pick, rah rah. And if you take the 176 out of his cycle, he's not going to be a top mid. But the fact is, the 176 is in there, so he's under 111 average, and you take those points. Will he be top 8 mid from this point on? I don't know. But I can see Brisbane sorting their shit out in the midfield, so I think he will be. I think write him off at your own peril. I'll skip past Laird here. So Laird was my captain after Neil failed as VC. Good performance from Laird. He, after that round 150, that's an anomaly. He's back. He's probably going to do this kind of thing every week, just about. So get on him if you can, because he's not. I don't think he's going to be much cheaper than that. What's his break even? 103. So you'd think he's not going to go down any lower than that. So if you're going to hop on, it's got to be this week. Setterfield 76. That was disappointing. He was looking good at quarter time and half time, and then I think his last quarter he barely scored. So I don't know why that was either. I watched the game, but was his game time low or something? 83. Yeah, see, I'm only just looking at this stuff for the first time now since the weekend because I'm kind of just like burnt out from it. And as I said, my interest is hanging by a thread right now. I put in a lot of research this pre-season and it's just not worked out at all. Hopper 94, that's really good. I hope he can do that every week. He looked really good though on the weekend, same as Taranto, but Hopper just looks confident and he's moving a heap better now. He looked a bit like a crab in the first couple of rounds, but yeah, he's got a good role. There's no threat to him losing CBAs, so I'm happy to hold him. Might even, with the way cash generation is, I might even have to hold him for the year. I just can't see it being a year where you can go 1 up, 1 down like a few weeks in a row. It's going to have to be like 2 down, 1 up. And I've only got the 1 boost left now. So, Ashcross 76. That seems like 77 is his average. That seems to be about right. Like he's going to get that every week now, I think, around there. So he's going to have to go sooner or later. Break even 51, so he might have a week or 2 left in the team. But with the problems I've got, he might survive longer. McVee 59. He's not looking like a great selection now. He had those 2 really good scores and then the really low break even, so I bought him in, and since then he's not done too much. So I think I've only made like 70k off him or something like that. Anyway, his 59 was far better than the rest of the rookies, so this is a disaster. Roberts 19. He wasn't doing much and then he got injured. Looks like he's going to be out for quite a while. So consider him dead rookie. I don't know what to do with him. I can't get rid of him this week, I think, because I just don't have the luxury of trading to another rookie that's like I need to go 1 up, 1 down, or 2 up, 1 down. I just need money right now, so he might have to sit there for a bit and be a loophole or something. Now that it kind of makes me regret picking Madden as my loophole at the start of the year. Just like 1, 2, 3, possibly 4 dead rookies right now. But as I said before, you can't see these things coming. So Tom Green, he was out for the sling tackle. He'll go back in this week, obviously, for Roberts. Then it starts to look a lot better. I don't know. Setterfield may make way. Thinking I might be able to get Zeeble and Day in. I was betting against Zeeble after the first few weeks because I thought that he'd suck people in, but he just keeps on scoring. So while he's still at that price, I think I've got to get him. Especially when it's going to be too hard to fill out, like all 600k primos or whatever. It's not doable this year unless something drastic happens. So Johnson, and I thought I had a really good plan here with Johnson. Like I had him loopholed, so if he did well, Chesser was going to come in for Roberts so that I'd get Johnson's score, and then McVee would go to the back line for Wilmot. Hang on, I can't remember how I worked that out. Anyway, it feels like so long ago now because the round went so long. But it's what I worked out on, Thursday night, so. Anyway, it didn't work out because Johnson scored 35 and I wasn't going to take that, but I should have because I would have got an extra 16 points. English, his standard 130 to 140. Marshall 88. Marshall he's not a primo. He's not the value pick that we all thought he'd be at the start of the year. I had questions on it, like question marks on him, and I got talked into picking him. Now, if you watched my first episode on this channel, I said I was doing it to keep myself accountable to go with my gut and my own research, and I picked Marshall before that. So, yeah, if I was thinking of going just with my gut before that, I never would have picked him. I was gonna go Gawn and Darcy to begin with, but I got talked into Marshall because apparently his value pick, he's got the huge ceiling, and that's on me. It's, you know, you get information, it's what you do with it that counts, and that's my fault. So anyway, he still posted a couple of good scores, and I think he'll do good this week because he'll be up against Teakle if Lyset's not back, and even if Lyset is back, he's shit. So Marshall should have another good score, but you know, just like Ashcroft, I can't move him on because I've got other problems. Ideally, I'd like to make him Gawn directly if it works out in a few weeks. Gawn's still got like a 200 break even, so not bringing him in yet. He's going to bottom way out. Dunkley 104, pretty standard. He's been underwhelming, but so have all the Brisbane mids. Still got faith that they'll come good. Can't complain though about a 104. Taranto 144. What's he? Is he like F1 right now? F2, so he'd be behind Jezza. Yeah, really stoked with that. I didn't think he'd go this high. When I picked him, I thought he'd be like 100 max, like a 95 to 100, and that's only because of his disposal efficiency. But it obviously wasn't too bad on the weekend. Where is he? 60. Interesting. It was low even for him. Cogs 136. Good return to form. He's been terrible the last 2 weeks. He was definitely, I think, underscored those 2 weeks, but he still hasn't been good. But the thing that saved him in my team is that he's been finding the ball. He's just been doing strange things with it. And I'm not worried that Green's coming back this week. I don't think it's going to affect Cogs at all, because as I said, he's been finding the ball with or without Green. So yeah, that was really good. Golden 47, terrible. He's had a terrible run the last few weeks. What's he had? But the whole Sydney team was shit again. He just couldn't hit a target. So he's a 47 at 88. I went Golden. If you've been watching my videos, you'll know that I started Golden over Rosie. And it was looking good until a couple of weeks ago. Golden had scored more points. But it's all changed now. I only did it for the extra money that I needed, but it's not worth it. It hasn't worked out because of injuries and other bullshit. So it's pretty much the story of my team. Sheasel 53 finally come back down to earth. If I had a non-playing rookie this week, I would be tempted to loophole him, because if he pulls out a 53 again and you've loopholed him, and say Green scores an 80, you've just got 30 points up on the rest of the comp, because I don't think many people are going to get rid of him or not field him. Maybe I could get rid of Pedler. Pedler looks really good, but it just doesn't translate to Supercoach for some reason. So his break-even's 40, so he's not going to make much more money. So I probably could get rid of him and maybe go to, is it, what's his name, Mitchell? Maybe if I bring Mitchell into the forward line. I'm not going to base my whole team around it though. But yeah, if I brought Mitchell into the forward line for Pedler and then swapped him with Roberts, I could loophole Green and Sheasel. Yeah, I probably won't. Anyway, speaking of Green, 77, he was really good against Crom. He looks really confident now, and he's probably a fieldable option. And Van Rooyen, geez, what a roller coaster. He looks shocking. I was absolutely certain he was going to get subbed, and then hearing Goodwin the next day say that he actually was. Like, they were waiting for him to come to the bench and he was going to be subbed, but then he clunked the first mark, kicked goal. Then he just kept doing it. So that was really lucky, and that 80 now is just really important. It's going to kickstart his cash gen again. And I think it's bought him at least another week in the team. So that's bloody lucky, because we need every dollar we can get now with the way this shitty team is. I could easily sit here and do like a hippo rant about my team and just go crazy and start hurling all kinds of insults. But I won't. That's his thing. I feel like he owns it. No one does it better, so shout out to him. Have a look at the games now. Maybe talk about some targets for this week. See who's relevant and stuff. Actually, first, I'll talk about who I'm looking at for VC and C this week. Who we got? Believe it or not, Lachie Neale might be a VC option again. He's a proud man. Fremantle's midfield isn't real good this year, so I'll be looking at him to bounce back. That could be a tempting one. Most likely though, I'll probably go VC English into Dacos. They're the top two players, so just go with safety there. So unfortunately, no crazy plans to speak of with that one. If you were really brave, you could go VC on Marshall against one of the Port rucks like Lysette, or looks like it's going to be Teagle. So that would be a bold move, but I can't really afford to do that when I'm this far back. Alright, look at the games now. So Darcy 137. He's killing it. I know people were wanting him out of their team a couple of weeks ago because he wasn't, I think he scored only like 130 or something against BJ Williams, but he's just been scoring like that ever since, no matter who it is. So he's been a really good pick in the end. It just shows that people have such like short perspectives. Like, you look at a couple of weeks and you base a players just about their whole season on those 2 weeks. You got to remember that this game is, there's an extra round this year, so it's like full 23 games, and we're only 6 in. So I made the mistake. Like, I thought Radigalia was a terrible pick after getting him and Liam Jones, and look what happened there. So you just got to be patient sometimes and realize that you can make up the ground if things are going bad, especially at the start of the year. Like, I panicked and now I've got one boost left. So even though I'm not too worried, I think if you do the right thing now, it doesn't matter if you use your boost now or later in the year. So it'd just be nice to have one for safety, but I'm probably not going to have one after the buys. Maybe not even after this week, depending on what I can do. Sarong 130. He's been an amazing pod for whoever had him. I don't think he's going to be a pod for much longer, because he seems to be doing this every week now. He's the main man in there, and he would be the reason why Brayshaw has dropped right off. And Amira is the reason Brody's dropped off. So I don't know what Fremantle are playing out there. Ryan 120, he's the real deal. People were saying that he wasn't because he's never done it before and stuff. Well, neither had, like, once Zeeble went back, he'd never really done it before, and Sicily last year had never done quite that. McGovern this year, before he was injured, was posting really good scores, and he'd never gone over 91, I think, so like average for a year. So Hayden Young 88, he'll be a good pick next year. Not yet, maybe once Ryan starts slowing down. Will Brody 75, it's sad to see him now no longer a primo or whatever. He was a great pick last year. It seems as well like 67% game time. He's always had low game time, but his points per minute were best in the AFL, I think. So something's going on there. I think it's O'Meara. Wagner 64. He's one to keep an eye on. His other score wasn't so good though. But yeah, 18 touches. That looks pretty good. He looked decent. So if you need a rookie this week, him or Mitchell. I'd go Mitchell, but if you need two, Wagner as well. Sturt 62, he's another one. I'd be looking at him. 2 goals, 7 touches. If he doesn't get the 2 goals, though, he's not going to score well. But I guess that's what you're going to get with forwards. Condolences to those that got sucked in by Brennan Cox. Bloody Johnson, 35. Oh, mate, he better turn it around this week. Bomp 182, what a god. Libba 140, he's probably been the best pod of the year. Him or Sarong. Chalor 135, he's flying under the radar. English, we've talked about him. McRae 131, that's a bit of redemption for him. What's he averaging? $108. So he's another one that he's not doing as bad as people say. Like, you'd think that he was averaging 90 or something the way people talk about him. So here we go again. Caleb, same as last week. Caleb Daniel 91, Dale 64, Richards 57. There's not enough ball to go around for the 3 of them. They're all cancelling each other out now, so none of them are picks. Johannesson 84. If you took the punt on him, that's not too bad. He's got that defense roll back, so he doesn't seem, well, he is affected by the other 3, but we don't, because of his price, you don't need him to score so high. Baker 59, I traded him out, but that's okay. 59 is about what I expected him to get, so that's not going to hurt. Although it was better than the bloody rookies that I traded in for him. Liam Jones 53. If you've got him, now would probably be the time to get rid of him. Yeah, there's not much there to see. Toby McLean subbed again. I think he was subbed last week. Bulldogs look like they've got things back on track though, so that's pretty good. Not good for super coaches though, because it means Bevo's going to keep his job longer. And he's an absolute twit. This game was a pain in the arse. So from a non-Supercoach perspective for a second, this is probably good for the Crows in the long run. They probably would have learnt more from this game for this year than if they had to just come out and won by 9 or 10 goals, which is what people were expecting. So in that sense, it's good, but it was a pain in the arse to watch because it was just a shitty game. Hawthorn just turned it into a scrap, and Crom let them. Yeah, Crom are going to have to be a hell of a lot better the next few weeks. They got a hard draw for the next month now. So, Supercoach-wise, that might affect some players. But we'll start with Hawthorn. Newcomb, 114. He's scoring better now. Sicily, 105. I'm still not sold on him. That role doesn't look right. It's not the one he had last year. He's playing lockdown. I think he was on, was it Tex or Fogarty? Oh, he's on Fogarty, so. Yeah, he's playing lockdown. It's not ideal. Like, he's good enough to still score what he is. But ideally, you'd want him being the interceptor. Warple, 98. He's worked out really well. Mitchell, 79. He's the standout that everyone's going to want. Moore, 78. Just inconsistent because forward line in a shitty team. Although 19 touches and 2 points. If he turned that around and his disposal efficiency was better, he easily would have tonned. So, if Hawthorn start turning it around anytime soon, he's going to be a popular pick. Green, 77, really good. There's not much here. Obviously, bottom teams aren't so relevant apart from their rookies. Mackenzie, 48, another one I traded. I'm glad that he didn't go big. Or I might have just lost interest in the game completely. Let's see. Laird, 126. Sloan winding the clock back, as did Tex. Although Tex has been, last few years, he's been somewhat relevant. So, for periods anyway. Saligo, 116. That's a good turnaround because he only had the 4 touches and got subbed the week before. So he's obviously had the rocket under him. Rochelle, 89. He's probably a next year's pick. So especially if he gets the forward mid split. Oh, he's a forward this year. Okay. I thought he was just a mid. Let's see. Dawson, 78. He had a really off game. Very unlike him to make so many unforced errors you'd call them, like just missing kicks and stuff. Clearly high pressure games aren't his jam, like in close and stuff. He needs a little bit of space, I think, to function properly. That's fine. He was still like decent, but that's not what you want if you bought him in this week, given his price. But it's good for the rest of us because now he's going to drop. Obviously, I'm going to be wanting him. Rob, 76. That's bad for him, especially when you consider he's up against Ned Reeves. I wonder, can someone tell me how have Rucks been scoring against Reeves this year? Because Meek didn't play. So I wonder if that means English. I guess English isn't really affected too much by other rucks because, like this week, he's up against Reeves, but he just gets his points from like all other avenues. Like he still scored big on Darcy this week, so I guess that's not really a worry. Michelini, 50. If you've been watching, I told you that when everyone started bringing him in, that he was a trap. And he has been. I think he scored like a 50 and a 60 or something since. Keys, 49. He's no longer relevant at all. He's playing like the defensive half forward role. And he's going to be interesting this week because I think he's going to tag Dacos. If there's anyone that can do it, it'll be him. He's got the tank. He's aggressive. And I think you got to be mentally tough to do that job. Like Lockie Jones did a shit job and a few others that have tried, but they haven't put hard tags on him. I think Keys can do it though because he's done it to Sard. If you just make them accountable, it goes a long way. So Pedler, 15 and a goal. Probably underscored, to be honest. Oh, no. 6 clangers. Okay, fine. See, again, it could have been a good score if not for shit like that. So he's almost on the chopping block, if not this week. Chase Jones, trap. I actually did consider him, but at the end of the day, I thought, nah, he's been out of the team and he's been struggling for years. I don't think that he's just suddenly flicked a switch and like he looked really good for the last 2 weeks. But players don't just flick a switch and suddenly become like primos overnight. So yeah, there was just nothing leading up to it. I think it was circumstance for him. Crom played really good at home. And he's a bit like Dawson, like he needs a more open game, and Hawthorn made the game small. They weren't giving anyone any space. Duday, 43. So it seems like this year, Duday, he's either going to be like getting, high 90s, 100, or it's going to be like a 30 or 40. So he's not a pick. He's a bit like Barris. He's somewhat the same, except for he scores, 120s and stuff more often than the 40s, whereas Duday's like 1 week up, 1 week down. So I didn't see this game because I had my own game to play. Rosie, 126, that hurts, especially because of Goulden's bullshit that he posted. Finlayson, 125, he's not relevant, but damn, I like to see 5 goals out of him with what he's going through at the moment. I wouldn't wish it on anyone. I don't know how he's got the mental strength to play footy at the same time. I definitely wouldn't. Teakle, 85. That's going to suck people in. It's against BJ Williams, and he actually did really good here, as you can see. So clearly Teakle's not a pick. If you're allowing BJ Williams to get 133 Supercoach, like 37 hitouts, 16 contested possessions, I think it's more likely that Teakle's shit than Williams is now Supercoach relevant. Port's another one. They're not really Supercoach relevant. They just share the points too much. And they're so, as a team, they're so inconsistent. Power Pepper, he was talked about as maybe a pod. He's come back down to earth big time. Lord, don't touch him. We'll actually wait and see what happens this week, but he's got bad job security. Although Georgiades did his ACL, so he's not coming back. So who have Port got? Dixon, Finlayson, and Marshall. Did Dixon play? I can't see him. Either I'm going blind or he didn't play. So I'm guessing Lord will lose his spot when Dixon's back. Oh, Horn Francis 45. Condolences to those owners. Marshall injured. I'm just finding this stuff out now because I've like completely tuned out from the AFL. For the last few days, I've just burnt out. So maybe Lord will keep his spot for another week, but it'll be a classic Kenny. Let him play 2 games, and then when he's on the bubble, he'll get dropped. Barris 121. He's a decent pod pick, but you're gonna have to put up with the odd 40 or whatever he gets, and he's probably only relevant until McGovern gets back. So I'm gonna avoid him, I think, even though I did have him in my preseason team, but he didn't make the cut. Kelly 106, he's a smoky. I think the top team, I think it was last week, had Kelly. Like the team that was ranked number 1 at the time. He's not been too bad. I guess like someone has to get the ball in there and everyone else is missing. So Witherden 104, he's not even got like a safe spot in the team, even with the injuries. He's can't defend. Cully 91. So when I saw that, I got excited because last year I thought Cully might have a breakout this year. But then I saw the 4 goals, and he's not going to get that like probably ever again. So he hasn't really turned a corner at all. Oscar Allen 72 feels like he gets that every week. So if you picked him, well done. I avoided it. I don't like key forwards really. Jimby 62, he's hit the wall now. So I got rid of him and bought in Lloyd. So it was only 15 points better for the week. But I think in the long run, Lloyd's going to way outscore him. But yeah, he's been a really good rookie. He's done his job completely. Like he's been better than we expected, I think. Luke Edwards 48. I've expected him to do better. He looked really good in his first season, then he's had injury problems and stuff, but I don't know, he might not ever be Supercoach relevant now. It's hard to tell because West Coast are just such a basket case. I only saw, I think, the last quarter or something of this game. Coming all the way from the other side of town after playing footy and losing, that always hurts. But yeah, that's why I missed most of the game. Jelly 139. What a roller coaster that dude is. The 41 touches. He would have been a great pick at the start if it wasn't for that concussion. The people traded him out and now think they're getting him back in. You just can't trust him though. He always gets injured. Something always happens to him. I don't think I'm going to go there. Haynes 119. He's a smoky. Interesting pod. He's had one really down game, which I think was last week, but the rest has been pretty good. And he has a decent ceiling too. Like the ball's going to be down there a lot for the Giants, and it seems like Adam Kingsley loves him. And then there's that whole thing about how he was on the medication that was affecting him for the last couple of years. So he's definitely tempting at that price. But you want to be bloody sure that he's a keeper if you're going to get him at that price, which I'm not 100% convinced. He's not. I don't think he'll be top 6. But if you're in a situation similar to me where you know, cash gen's an issue and because of injuries and stuff, you're running out of trades, he might be a cheap option. Because you got to be realistic. You're not going to fill every line with the top 6 to 8 now. O'Halloran 103, that come out of nowhere. Toby Green 101, he's looked pretty good this year. Himmelberg. Switch back in quarter 3 to cover Taylor injury. That's one to watch. If he goes back, because he'd be nice and cheap now. If he's going to cover Taylor. Like, I can't see it happening. Why is that not happening? 385. Oh, man, if he's playing backline, you can get right in my team. But, as I said, it probably won't happen. Flynn, 89. That's alright. I don't know why you'd pick him when there's other available. But, to be honest, he's probably... Him and Marshall haven't been scoring too differently. So Flynn could have been the better value option. Buckley 87, he seems to just do that every week now. Hats off to whoever picked him and started with him. Callahan 77, so he's put up a better score now that everyone's gotten off of him. Shitfield 71, bloody hell. I can't believe people are still getting sucked in by that guy at the start of the year. Never again. He doesn't look interested or something. Cumming 58, he's down again. I wonder if that's because Himmelberg went back or something, but yeah, I don't know what's up with him, why his scores are down so much. If we could find out why, he could be a real interesting one for next year. Like, he'd be worth backing. Yeah, so I wonder how that Sam Taylor injury is going to affect them. Who's going to go back there? I wonder how far off Phil Davis is. I can't check all this right now. Like, it'd take too long to type to win shit. Rouston 27. Glad I didn't get him. Rich 99. He's always overlooked. He had a quieter one last week, but if he's on the upward trend, he could be an interesting pick. McCluggage 96. So is he starting to come back as well? Because he's really cheap. 443. Now, I'm not saying to pick these kind of players. I'm just talking about them because if you are in a situation that's similar to me, these are value players that have scored like primos in the past and can score like primos. If things went right for you, these could be like the pick. But I'm not saying to get them. I'm just saying look into them. Yeah, Lockie Neal 76. That bloody hurts. Not much here. Yeah. So Dangerfield 144. He's been in great form. Seems like he took Geelong's bad form personally. Now they look like the in-form team. Tom Stewart 111. He's killing it. I just don't trust him. He's a bit like Jelly. He managed to get injured and suspended or some shit. Hang on. Jezza 106. I think pick him. If he's F1 and it's been 6 weeks and Geelong is just seemingly getting better and better, I think just pick him now if you can get him. I don't even think he's highly owned. 591 though, he's starting to get expensive. So 12% of teams, he's not quite that pod anymore either. But yeah, I don't think he's a bad pick at all. Blitzarv's 99. He's pretty safe, I guess. If Geelong are winning. Geelong have never, in recent years, been a good Supercoach team. They just spread it around so much, and it's the way they play. Holmes is one to watch for next year, I think. could have a breakout. Also, Tom Hawkins. Now, I know I said I don't like key forwards. Excuse my typing. I can't see the box behind the webcam inlay. So Hawkins 474. He's really cheap now. I'd be tempted to jump on him if you can. Because we've seen that he had a rough few weeks, but he always ends up like in the top 6 to 8 forwards. So Geelong are always going to kick to him, and Jazz is playing further up the ground, and he always looks to kick towards Hawkins. So he's a safe pick. Simpson 80. I really like this dude. When he first started playing, like in his first few games, I thought he was going to be an absolute star. I think he's had injury problems and stuff, so. And then Geelong got really good again at the wrong time for him. But yeah, it's good to see him back. And he's always got the socks up, which I admire. Makes him stand out. He actually looks like Peter Riccardi, I reckon. If any of you older viewers remember Peter Riccardi, from a distance, he looks like him. Radigalia 75, that hurts. Duncan 67, I hope you guys didn't get sucked into him. Mills 98. He was playing lockdown on Hawkins. So Sydney are desperate. I don't know what's going on with them. Like, surely they've got some other key defenders somewhere in the team. Like, there's got to be some in the reserves that they could bring in. You can't have guys that short playing on monsters like Hawkins. This was an annihilation. It was like watching the grand final again. Except for Sydney had even less performance this time. There's not much here to talk about. Warner 61. I thought he was going to break out this year. It's just not happening. Golden 47. Gould 25. The only reason I mention him is because, yes, he does exist after all. And Roberts, oh jeez. Just get me away from this mess. So Adam Chera 144. Carlton's underperforming. Their list, they should be doing so much better, I think. I think that they're the exact opposite to Geelong. So Geelong are very like system over personnel. I think that Carlton are personnel over system. And it's not good. Like, they've got a lot of good players, but not much heart or something. But yeah, Chera 144. He's having a good year, but I wouldn't pick him. Walsh 130. Is he injury prone? I don't know. I'd have to look that up, but it's starting to feel like he might be. Cripps 130. So I'm pretty sure I've heard that Cripps does better with Walsh in the team. And he also obviously does better with Pitnet rucking. So would you want a player that's reliant on another 2 players? I wouldn't. Wiedering 106. He's another yo-yo this year. It must be the key defender thing. Hewitt 93. He's not hitting the heights he did last year. I think he's got a sore back, so it's probably restricting him a bit. If you've ever had a back injury, you'll know it's impossible to play any sport with it because just everything's connected to it. Yeah, there's not much here. Cotter 67, that's good. Hopefully he does that again this week, and then he'll be straight in at 102k. Geez, that's really timely for us as well. Holland 60, he's been a good pick if you persisted with him. Cowan 35, he hasn't. So Ed Kerno injured. Oh no, he was just subbed out. Tagging Sinclair. Mitch Owens 114. Again, if for some reason, and I don't know why anyone would have, but if you picked Mitch Owens at the start, absolute kudos to you. He's killing it. But he's now, I think he's too expensive to get. I don't think he'll be like a top 6 to 8 forward by the end of the year. But for now, if he's a stepping stone to like I don't know, someone else like a Clary or someone in the midfield for you. You've done well. Sinclair 105. I almost bought him in. It was pretty much up between him, Took, and Lloyd in the end. Took I didn't do because I would have had to get rid of Setterfield, which I didn't want to. And I'm glad I didn't because obviously Took's now gone for, well, half the year. But yeah, Sinclair 105. He just doesn't look, I don't know, something about him this year. It's not passing the eye test for me. Anyway, one guy that is, Mason Wood 97 again. So if, like my mate, you started him, well done. I'm sure he'll be gloating about that for quite a while. Marshall 88, we talked about that. Not much here. Stocker 58, bit of a lower one for him. Still 54, doesn't look good. I don't know if I'll even want him even once he bottoms out. Depends how far he bottoms out. But if he gets that low, is it worth even picking him? Like, he'll probably come good, but his days are over of like the 120 plus average that people are expecting. He's not going to be a top 8 mid anymore. Filippo 39. I would have punted him by now if I had him. I just didn't like the role, but I guess it's not too different to Pedler, so whatever. It's a decent pick. Wilkie 23. So this is that yo-yo scoring I'm talking about from the key defenders. Last week he scored 150, 160, and then he's down to 23 the following week. So that's what you're going to get from those guys. Don't get sucked in. Now here's one that's tempting. Lockie Weller 134. He's put together a nice few games since he's come back. I watched him last week at Norwood against Fremantle, and he did well then as well, I think. Yeah, 105, so he's on an upward trend. 63, 81, 86, 105, 134. I suppose, though, Fremantle and North aren't the greatest opposition. They're not going to get them every week. Richmond and Melbourne coming up, so the ball should be down there a lot, a halfback. But yeah, he's an interesting pod. I don't think it's a bad pick. Pow and Rao 125, 124. Rao's a bit of a yo-yo. Pow's a bit of a yo-yo. I don't trust anyone from Gold Coast really. Ainsworth 95. I have him in draft. Flying under the radar, but not for this format. Yeah, there's not much here. As I said, the Suns can't be trusted. Fiorini 79. I don't know, if you want to take the punt and you think he's going to take Tukes, CBAs, there was like a thing on the AFL website today where Tukes said, where Fiorini said something about it. But I don't know. Stewie definitely has like a mind of his own, and he does some weird shit. I don't trust him or the Suns in general. So Ben Long, just drop him. Seriously, you're playing loose halfback. He's been getting like 10 disposals a week. He can't really hit targets too well. Gives away frees. He's an idiot. So for the sake of super coaches, Stewie, just drop Ben Long and bring Constable back in. Or just drop anyone and bring Constable back in. Like, do it for us. Goldstein 131. I think that was wasn't that like his 300th game or something? So great achievement there. He used to be part of the set and forget. Zeeble 111. So yeah, I think he's a keeper now. So when I gambled against that one, it wasn't a good gamble. This is why I don't bet. Just like the Suns, there's not much relevance in North Melbourne for Supercoach. Cunnington 77, his days are done as Supercoach relevant. He's too old now. Too bald like me. Hall 63, he's not affecting Zeeble. He took Sheasel's kickouts. I don't think that the kickouts would have made too much difference to Sheasel's score. I don't think that Hall being in the team was a factor why. Sheasel looks banged up. And he was being tagged. The thing is, I think that Sheasel is only going to get tagged in the games where teams are looking to beat, like lower teams are looking to beat North Melbourne. It's going to be a harder game. If North is playing like this week, North's got Melbourne. Melbourne's not going to tag Sheasel. They're not going to tag anyone because they're just going to back in their own process and it's going to get the job done easy. So don't worry about Sheasel being tagged. It's, you know, they're not going to play the Suns every week. Yeah, there's nothing here. Daniel Howe, he annoys me only because he looks on the TV when it's like a long shot. He looks like Sheasel. So unless you can see the number. But yeah, they look really similar and you see Howe get the ball when you get excited and then commentators say Howe and get disappointed. Especially on the weekend when Sheasel's struggling. Yeah, this game wasn't real good to watch. Richmond kind of bottled it. Melbourne, not convinced on Melbourne anymore. Like, they look better with Gawn in the team and May in the team. And who's the other one? Lever. But I don't know. I don't rate Richmond too highly this year. Yeah, there's not much here. Oliver 98, that was good as a non-owner to watch. Like, he's just that much of a pig that you get excited when he gets a 98. That's how good he is. Gawn 98, as I said, he'll be good in a few weeks once he bottoms out. Because as far as I'm concerned, he's still easily the best ruckman. If you watch the game and saw how many contested marks he was bringing down, he's just an animal. Like, he's unstoppable in the air. Chandler 85, he had a slow start. But yeah, owners would be happy with that one. He was big at the end. Grundy 81. So now's the time to get rid of him if you bought him in. Yeah, I'll be surprised if he gets to many more tons for the year with Gawn in the team. Like 68% time on ground. Gawn 85. So it's pretty clear who the number one is there. Van Rooyen, already spoke about him. 80, that's great. Great timing. McVee 59. It looks like McVee and Bowie kind of cancel each other out from watching the game. They're both kind of playing that same role. So I think they're a bit like McKenna and Wilmot. Like, they're just, they're going to cancel each other out most of the time. There's only a certain amount of points between them to divide. It's just a matter of who gets the biggest share. Taranto 144, amazing. Short 130, so wound the clock back a bit. It was good. I got him in draft, but yeah, I wouldn't touch him in classic. Same as Vlosten, I have him in draft. But he's an interesting one, actually. He's one that I possibly would go for in classic if he's only 534. If you have a look at his scoring, he's not too different to Jake Lloyd this year. So he had the one shitty score like Lloyd. And then the rest, 104, 102, 108, 90, 121. So if people think Lloyd is a good pick, and I know that a lot of people do, and they think he's back, I think Vlosten is also a good pick. And because Richmond have dropped off, like big time, they're clearly not a contender anymore. I think obviously the ball's going to be down there a lot more, which gives him a lot more opportunity. And he's a quality player. Like, sometimes people get sucked in by CBAs, kickouts, and shit like that. Like, obviously they're important, but sometimes the quality of the player comes into it, and he is dead set quality. So if you want a pod, he's in 1% of teams. Like, even looking at this, I might be tempted to get him myself this week. Like, it sounds insane, but if I'm going to come back from where I am, I have to roll the dice, and like, the dude's consistently scoring, so watch out for that. Let me know in the comments what you think of that pick, because I think that he's a good pick. And I know he's 29, so he's starting to get on, but yeah, I think he's alright. Like with the role he plays and all that, being 29 shouldn't affect him. Hopper 94, it's great. Rioli 84. And Baker 60. So the interesting thing with them is, like Wilmot and McKenna. Yeah, so like Wilmot and McKenna, whenever one goes big, the other one can't. Like they have alternating weeks. So it's interesting this week that both of them were down. I think it's the first time this year that that's happened. Dusty 82. He had a few flashes where he looked like the old Dusty, but I think mentally he's pretty much checked out. Ryan 82. If you took the punt on him, well done. I'm still not sold though. He just looks like a kind of guy that he could easily just trot out like a 30 as well. So if he does that, he's pretty much cooked. Yeah, it's not much here for Supercoach. Side bottom 149. Again, don't get sucked into him. He had a good start to the year, but then he's going to yo-yo. And you'll see as the season goes on, he's probably going to start dropping more low scores than high. Yeah, Dacos, Piglet, Mitchell 108. He's been a good pick. He's not got the ceiling he used to have, but he's a consistent scorer. He's only had the one down game, so well done if you picked him. My man Bill Frampton, 99. He's not going to get that every week though, so while it was good to see him have a good game, and I'm enjoying watching him go well at his new club, yeah, he's not really Supercoach relevant. Pendlebury 89. I thought he would have scored higher just from watching the game, but maybe because he only see out of 1 eye at the end, maybe it affected him. He's still thereabouts, but there's better options at that price. Parrish 110. That's actually a good sign for him, getting 110 off of only 27 touches. Because normally, I'm pretty sure, because he's such a big accumulator, he doesn't get high points per touch. So normally for him to get 110, he'd have to have like 35 or something. But yeah, that's a good sign if you're an owner. Draper 91. He's still not breaking out, but he looks like he's much more consistent than last year. So maybe one to keep an eye on for next year. He definitely knows where the goals are. 1 goal 3, so yeah. If he kicks straighter on the easy goals, and like he's that classic player that he misses the easy ones and kicks the ridiculous ones. Redmond 89, not going near him. So I've seen that he scores really well in wins, but I'm not sold on Essendon. I think they're going to be maybe middle pack or something, but probably not enough. You know, for a player like that, you'd want them to be top 4. Ridley, he's done, but you know, everyone's probably going to have bigger problems than him, so you can probably hold on to him. You must be doing bloody well if Ridley's your biggest problem, pumping out like 90, 95 odd. Setterfield, a lot of people will probably trade him this week if they haven't done last week. He's an interesting one. It depends on your team. If you want to hold him, you can, because he's up against Geelong's midfield. They give away a fair amount of points. But yeah, if you want to trade him and you can get someone good for him, do it. McGrath 76, he's not panned out at all. Nick Martin's the interesting one, 60. He was doing better in his first year than this year. I actually looked at him in pre-season and thought he might be a contender for a breakout, but yeah, I don't know what's up with him. He's not like he was last year. Davey 44, got rid of him, so I'm glad that he only got 44. I can't see him getting any higher than like 50. each week. He just doesn't have the tank or anything. That's about it, I think, for like Supercoach relevant. But yeah, let me know if you got any trades planned, and yeah, I'm interested to hear what other people are doing this week. And like, is cash gen an issue for you as well? And yeah, as I said at the start, let me know what you think, what you would do if you were in control of my team. Like, what move would you make this week? And keep in mind, I've got 1 boost left and 23 trades. But yeah, I think I know what I'm going to do, as I said. So it's not like I'm trying to steal ideas off anyone or anything. So yeah, I'll probably make another video tomorrow night, depending on what time I get home from footy training. But yeah, if I don't, then good luck for the weekend, everyone, and hopefully we just avoid Carnage this week. It's all you can really ask for this year, because it's been shocking. It's the worst year that I can remember. So please like and subscribe if you've gotten this far in the video. As I've said before, I'm not really in it for that, but it is nice to know that the video is being appreciated. It can get disheartening if, you know, you're not seeing much in return. But anyway, yeah, hopefully it's a good week, and I'll catch you in the next video.